I've got maybe 10 to 15 minutes before the video I shot on my camera just today from Monument Hill post. I forgot it till the very last, and I said, "Oh yeah, I got to upload that." But anyway, that's the one I shot from Monument Hill on my camera just today. It's about a 10-minute long video, and if anybody doesn't know, that's down there. It's just east of where Phoenix International Raceway is. They're going to have a NASCAR race there in a week or 2 weeks, something like that. I'll cover that again in a later video. But when I was up on top of Monument Hill, I got my ghost meter. Figure I'd do a bit of a Geisterjäger video. Now the field strength, I picked up something from the top of that monument. I asked, now this vacant field. It's where a Maricopa County Sheriff's substation once was. They tore that down a couple of years ago, something like that. Now, several years ago, there was an officer that was killed. He was guarding a prisoner. The prisoner killed him. Then he took off, and then they promptly caught the guy. So there was at least one death over there many years ago, and hopefully the guy isn't hanging around here as a ghost, but you never know. So I'll periodically drag my meter out and just ask if there's any ghosts hanging around here. Want to talk to me? Touch the tip of this. See where my fingers. I don't want to hit too hard; it'll set it off. I'll show you that in a minute. But touch. If there's a ghost hanging around here, touch the tip of this meter, and you'll set this meter off. The other thing I've covered quite a few times is I had this meter in my back pocket up at the waterfall from White Tank Park, and it was it was going off my back pocket. I heard beep beep beep. First, I thought it's somebody else up there with a cell phone, because that's kind of what it sounded like. After about 2 or 3 minutes of that, I realized that it was my ghost meter, so I pulled it out and I started saying, "Hey, if there's a ghost thing itself, do it again," because it had gone off. I mean, it had quit, and I couldn't get it to do it again, so I don't know. But I've just guessed that there was a ghost trying to hug me. Maybe a ghost just hugs everybody that goes back to that waterfall. You know, it's about a mile hike. It's in the White Tank Park. That waterfall hike is not the only thing in the park, but it's one of the more prominent hikes. A lot of people do that. A lot of people take that hike, because I've talked to other people that have hiked it, and there are park benches in there with people's names, at the waterfall hike. There are park benches with people's names on them. They'll say maybe, in memory of loving wife and mother, husband and father, or something like their spirit will always be with us. There are people that love to hike out there, and maybe they've asked that their name be memorialized on a park bench or something. There's about a dozen or so park benches with various names of people that have there's people that were born in the 1930s and died in the 70s that they've got their name out there, and they've got people, maybe born in the 50s or 60s, a little bit younger than me, that have passed on, that have their names out there. So pretty interesting. I've got some of those on my videos. I don't know if you search here my video, the White Tank waterfall hike, that'll come up. It's about you park out there. It's about a mile hike to the waterfall, and about a mile back. There's only the water is only there, like if it has rained for 2 or 3 days. There's a little lake on top of those mountains, and it'll rain. If it rains for 2 or 3 days, we'll have a waterfall for a short period of time, and then it dries up. I might luck out and catch it after. I wanted to go out there a few times after it's rained, and just missed it. I had to work. But anyway, sometime I'll get out there. Now, I was reading that sign yesterday that they've increased the rate, or that proposed. I need to actually go to their website. It's like Maricopa County Parks.net or something like that. If you're interested, see if they've actually imposed rate hikes. Now, what I think about doing, they did have a book with 5 one-day passes for $20. Now, if they kick that up at $25, yeah, it's no big deal. If it's $40, well, you can get like a 1-year senior adult pass. It was like 60 some bucks. I don't know if I'd visit the parks. If I got one of those, I'd want to make sure that I visited the parks enough to make it worth it. Talked to a lady that had one, and she wanted to drag me into or accompany me to Estrella down there, and I tried to get it to get me in there just because she had bought an adult pass. I mean, what she had in mind was just to go in there with me, leave me there for a day, and then come back and get me later down to Estrella at White Tanks or something. I know she did make the White Tanks park because she'd posted a image of her on Facebook. I'm almost certain she had watched my. I'm not going to identify her, but she knows who she is. She's been a friend of mine for years and years. But anyway, I'm sure she watched my YouTube video I'd posted on YouTube and said, "Well, I got to go back to the White Tanks Park." Anyway, I got my ghost meter again. If there's any individuals out here want to talk to me, touch the probe. The sheriff's officer that got killed a few years ago wants to talk to me, touch this meter, touch this probe. You see, it's just a ghost meter, it won't hurt you. However, I've often wondered, you see on a lot of these ghost videos, people will go into a reported a haunted place. They'll tell the ghost, "I don't want to hurt you." And I ask myself, how do you hurt a ghost? They're already dead. Not much else can happen to them. But I don't know. Maybe the ghosts are afraid of being hurt. I don't know. Maybe they're afraid they'll be. Now, another thought that a lot of ghosts hang around because they were hardcore Christians and believed in hell, believed that they're a bad person. If they left the earth plane, they'd get a one-way ticket to hell. They'd not need her to get to hell. That's one belief that why some ghosts stay earthbound. Now, for me personally, I don't buy that. I don't know how many times I've covered that. Now, I don't get. Well, one of the reasons I don't really buy into the major religious belief systems, especially Christianity, which believe that a loving God will punish you to hell forever for not following the dictates. Well, you know what I'm trying to say. For being a loyal Christian, I never quite bought that. Anyway, I'll leave you with this. My upload should be done time I post this. Bye bye from Sam's Club.